Hello everybody and welcome to the Mediator with me, Brian West. We have another special guest today. We have Miss Joyce Jones on the show. She is an actor and a community activist when it comes to theater and getting into movies. She's done movies, she's done community theater and so many things with her time. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today, Miss Joyce.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into theater and acting?
I've been involved in theater close to 40 years now.
Oh, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Started in high school. I graduated from South High School in 1977.
Yeah.
And basically I took speech and drama class because there wasn't really anything else to pick, and I wanted to graduate. So I took extra credit, and I found out that I really liked it.
Yeah.
I was kind of introverted in high school, in junior high school, and I would say that speech and drama class certainly made me
better person.
Better as far as communicating with people and being comfortable standing up in front of people.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
So tell us now you've been doing this for 40 years. Mm-hmm. What have you seen change over the years? Has it gotten better or has it gotten worse?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say from an person who does things backstage, I would say that it's gotten a little worse. The thing is, it's volunteer. You don't get paid for community theater. It's strictly volunteer, and people just don't have time or the patience anymore like they used to back in the 70s, early 80s. The first theater that I ever got involved with was the Youngstown Playhouse. Yeah. Which was at the time a thriving playhouse. They had over 3,000 season ticket holders. Yeah. They always had packed audiences, and they always had people who not only auditioned and did the shows, but people who worked backstage too. It wasn't a difficult thing. If they did a show, they always had a backstage crew. Right. Sometimes the crew would outnumber the cast.
Amazing.
And that sort of thing kind of dwindled off as the 90s rolled around. More and more things became accessible, in the outside world. So people lost interest. And then, people just decided, and I get this a lot, when I ask someone to volunteer and they say, you don't pay? The first thing they want to know is, are they going to get paid? Yeah. And it's not like that. There are not a lot of theaters, especially community theaters, who can afford to pay a crew. Some people, of course, do get paid. Most community theaters have a paid staff. Yeah. But as far as people actually doing a show, then it's all volunteer. I don't get paid for what I do when I do community theater.
That's amazing.
Neither does anyone else.
Unions this was a headline, I think it was last year that I was talking about, and I brought the Playhouse on. And I think, I don't know if it's a culture shift that has happened in America. Now, what would you blame the arts? Would you blame, because this is the comment I hear most people say, my daughter or son now, all they want to do is rap. Do you think hip hop is to blame for a lot of the decline, or what would you say the blame is? I
don't think hip hop is to blame. In fact, hip hop is part of the culture. Look at the success of Hamilton, that's on Broadway, and that whole show is hip hop, rap, and there's a lot of shows, a lot of plays that can be incorporated, with hip hop. Yeah. There's In the Heights that has a lot of hip hop in it, and that was very popular on Broadway. So I don't think it has anything to do with hip hop. I think it just has time to do with the change as far as technology. Yeah. More and more people. there's computers now. There's video games. There's people on their phones all the time.
Candy Crush.
Yeah, doing I do Candy Crush, but doing so many things that occupy people's time now that they're really not interested. I mean, look at kids today. Kids don't want to do anything but sit in the house and watch video games.
This is true.
Instead of like my generation growing up, we were put out the house on Saturday mornings to go outside and play, and we're outside from sun up to sundown, playing, getting exercise, whatever. It's just, if anything, I blame the parents for not trying to get their children involved in something cultural and artistic in the first place.
Amazing.
Letting them sit on that couch and play the video games.
Hey, Brian, on our previous show, I think you talked about the importance of parental responsibility.
Yeah, we talked about that with Dennis. He's an author, and I was just talking about the fact that there's not a lot of people reading anymore, and authors are suffering because they can't find that audience, and it's everything's video, and you know, people are even talking about the shows that come on TV. They're not the same. So I guess that's something I wanted to ask you and Dan too. You personally is, what do you see the difference in the show? Like, I mean, they have a lot of quality, techniques now where they incorporate all this graphics and people can fly through walls. But I think I grew up in the 80s, so it was a lot of imagination, something that. So tell me, what do you see different in the quality? Since you were in some of my movies, so tell me, what do you see difference in the movies in this new day and age?
Well, of course, movies have just expanded like through the roof. Now, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So, a movie, if you rent a movie that was made in the 60s, a science fiction movie or a horror movie, horror movies are good because of the way the things have changed, technically, how things have changed as far as makeup, special effects, and all of that, versus the 60s and now. I can remember watching a good example is War of the Worlds, because that has been remade. It was remade a few years ago with Tom Cruise. Okay, so I grew up on the original War of the Worlds. That was made like in 58 or something. That I saw when I was little, and it scared the crap out of me. And if I watch it now, I laugh because I'm like, that isn't even like, that's just so phony. But compared to the War of the Worlds that Tom Cruise made, we just didn't have that technology then. Everything has to do with technology, I think. And I mean, the world has become overblown with technology now, because there's just so many things that when I was young we didn't have. And we got along fine. I grew up with phone booths. And if you needed to call someone, you stop and put a quarter in the phone booth and call them. Instead of, you have a phone now and everything. If you were traveling, you pull over where there's a phone and call someone, So, I mean, programming, of course, has gone far beyond anyone's imagination. And, I mean, some programs leave little to the imagination. Some, really, make you use your imagination. And that's what I think the beauty of live theater is. Because live theater, it persuades you to use your imagination. Where unlike a television program or a movie would not. You do a play about space. There's only so much you can do on a stage. So the audience has to use their imagination. I had fun down there doing theater. I think if I had running or trying to do movies and things, but I had a lot of fun, and that was the first time I tried it. It's the rush and the excitement and the fact. I wish sometimes you could, but
I guess every director is different, and that's what a lot of people don't know about
Exactly.
theater and movies. So tell us a little bit about the business of it. I think you were talking about people thinking about getting paid, but you do it for the love of it, and you've been doing it for 40 years. So tell us how you've been able to get by and still be able to do what you love to do.
Get by.
How did you get the business of, because the unions were talking about getting paid, but like you said, the theaters don't have a lot of money. So how do they get money from the show? Do they have to make money off ticket sales? How would a theater be able to pay talent if it was possible?
Well, a theater, in order for it to pay for any talent or technical person, of course, would have to be a theater that's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Thriving really well. Everybody knows, I go back to Youngstown Playhouse because it's been in the news before, and everybody knows that it hit a little bump in the road a couple of times.
Yeah.
Where financially, there was a time when everyone thought the theater was going to close.
Yeah.
I grew up when the theater was thriving, and the theater actually could afford. We did a show. Fences in 1994.
Yeah.
And the Playhouse paid a Broadway actor to come in, and he played the starring role.
Yeah.
John Henry Redwood was his name. He's passed away, but he came in the Playhouse. I don't remember how much the Playhouse paid him, but they put him up in a hotel. And,
combinations.
and paid him. And then there was another gentleman who was from Cleveland. They also paid him. To come in. But that was when the Playhouse had that money. We as volunteers still didn't get paid.
Yeah.
But they had the money to do that. All community theaters, they get their money basically from season ticket holders, and these are people who pay a certain amount once a year, and they get tickets to see the season. They get season tickets, and they pay, like $75 maybe for the whole year, and they can come, and then so they have that. Theaters have to fundraise. Everybody knows fundraisers, can make you money.
Yeah, we just had one, so we saw how that went.
Yeah, so, there's different ways to pay the bills, so to speak. And then, of course, you also have to be able to pay your staff. There are a lot of community theaters don't have large staffs. The Playhouse used to, but of course they had to cut down on staffing. But basically, at any theater, you have a managing director. Managing director gets paid, of course, and that's the person that manages the whole theater. And then if you might have a technical director, and that technical director would be getting paid, and that's the person that builds your sets. That does the lighting and all of that. So they get paid, and maybe they might have one person under them who works closely with them. Other than that, it's all volunteer. And then, of course, most community theaters have a board of directors. Where the board dictates, how the space should be run, and dictates, what kind of fundraisers they're going to have. There's so many theaters who have really successful fundraisers. One of them being Rust Belt Theater, which is located in the Calvin Center downtown.
Okay.
They I must say, under the direction of Rob Jokey, they really put on some really delightful shows that bring the money in, and their biggest fundraiser of the year, of course, is around Christmas, around this time, which is How the Drag Queen Stole Christmas. He's been doing it 11 years. I'm telling you, it's always sold out. They do 50-50 raffles, which have went up to $800.
Is that right?
Yes. So, and they put all that money back into the theater and keep it running. And the thing about Youngstown that a lot of people don't know is that we have so many different theaters. You know, Youngstown Playhouse is more your traditional theater, you know, where you're going to see a lot of good family entertainment shows, big musicals, like they're doing Hairspray in May.
Yeah.
And they've done, you know, like Spam-A-Lot, and they've done Bye Bye Birdie. They've done just big musicals. Once on This Island they've done, and they just got finished doing an original piece, Nativity to Hope.
Yeah.
But, you know, they have that massive stage where they can do big musicals. And then you have the Victorian Players, which is more what they say, Victorian. They do a lot of plays that were written, you know, back in the 1800s, early 1900s, you know. And every once in a blue moon they may do a musical. It's very rare. But you have that theater. You have the Rust Belt, which does a lot of avant-garde things, a lot of off-the-wall things, a little more risque things.
Yeah.
Rust Belt does. You know, you might see some nudity in a Rust Belt show, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
You know, that's okay. Oh yeah, and that's fine.
Okay.
Nudity is fun. You know, and then you have Top Hat Productions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is a Christian-based organization run by Brian Palumbo, and they do 99% of their shows are musicals. Yeah. And they always do musicals which have a moral issue, something to make you think.
Right.
At the end of the show, you know, at the end of the show.
I think that's kind of like what we need more of.
We definitely do need more. Need more of that. You know, Top Hat, you know, excels so much for it to be a small theater. Top Hat has a wonderful technical director, Jeff Chan, who does magic on that small stage.
I seen Leap of Faith was pretty good.
Yes.
Just the lighting.
Leap of Faith. They've done Leap of Faith. They've done In the Heights, which was the first. It was the first time done in this area. Yeah. They're about to do Big Fish, the musical, which is never been done in this area before. But all of these things, all of these shows have a lesson to be learned at the end. You know, they did Ragtime, which was a big success. So, you know, and then we have our other theaters who are out there. We have our theaters in Lisbon, Salem, Salem Community Theater. You have Columbiana, which has Columbiana Main Street Theater. You know, all of these theaters. You have Newcastle Playhouse, which is close. You know, all of these theaters put on a variety of different things. So we're like a melting pot of just different things. There's always something for somebody to see. I would love to see more diverse theater.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to the one guy about.
I would have to say that the Rust Belt Theater and Top Hat Theater and the Victorian, I think they have the most diverse cast on their stages. You know, and you know, when I say diverse, I mean African Americans, Latinos, you know, Asian, you know, all of that. Whereas some other theaters, they don't want to cast outside the box. Number one, you know, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's out of ignorance, out of fear, whatever. The Playhouse, Youngstown Playhouse, is good at doing diverse shows. Yeah. But they only do them maybe once a year. You know, I just wish that more theaters would jump on that bandwagon, because there's so many talented, diverse actors out here in Youngstown, but they don't have a platform.
Well, I was going to ask you if there's any, what is the level of collaboration and partnership between the,
Between the theaters?
Between the theaters, or maybe like a collaboration with, let's say, for example, Kent State University has a summer stock theater, which my two adult children, Danny and Ashley, grew up with, and I thought it just they really got a lot from that, did a lot of different plays, and I think as adults, I see where it has made them, like you said, better public speakers.
Oh yes.
More confident.
Oh yeah.
And more imaginative.
Yeah.
Their creative abilities have been sharpened, and I think that leads to better problem solving.
Definitely.
Me and Dan talked about this. Wouldn't it be nice if we were talking about how they have like an investment into the stock market, and a lot of these people have jobs and they're investing into the stock market for a return. And we talked about this as a business model for communities. We thought maybe it would be better if they started having more community investment projects. And people aren't as active as they used to. I don't know how we've gotten to that level, but we always try to find a solution to certain situations. And it's amazing how these theaters have been able to keep it up and running. Some people, I'm pretty sure some of these guys probably working 9 to 5. Some people probably even sleep in their theaters, So
definitely. I mean, I know some people who have slept in their theater, their theaters. Definitely. I think it's laziness. People just don't want to get involved anymore. I mean, it's just like I said, technology is taking over. People have become more couch potatoes, and they don't want to get out and do anything. And the few of us who do go out, I mean, I'm seeing less and less audiences at theaters. People don't want to come out and see live theater, because why go and see live theater when I can sit at home and watch, HBO and Showtime or rather than come out to see something live. And then theater can be expensive as well, but when you get these road traveling theaters, like what's a good one, like Dreamgirls touring company, and they come to your town, and then people they flock to go see it. They go to see it because they usually have big name stars in those shows that people want to see. But on the same token, if a little community theater is doing it, then they don't really want to see it. And it's like, your family will come, your friends will come, but as far as people like actually enjoying theater and wanting to be a part of theater, that has just kind of like trickled away. It's died down. You see it in ticket sales. You see it in people who are season ticket holders. There's less and less people who purchase season tickets to a theater.
Amazing.
But
so there's just been a pretty much a decline in a lot of activity from generation shifts. And they talk about the attitudes of the newer generation, and now with theater, you also need talent down there. It's just like having a basketball team. Do you see a lack of talent as well?
No, I actually don't see a lack of talent. We have some really talented people here in Youngstown. I went and saw Nativity of the Hope at the Youngstown Playhouse a few weeks ago. And there were some people in it that I didn't know that were amazing, vocally and dramatically, and who could dance and sing, and these people, where have these people been? I didn't know about them. You know what I mean? So they're out there, but like I said, I think that not enough theaters are giving them the vehicle
to
show off their talent.
Yeah.
Well, I know Brian has been involved out here, for a number of years with Method 8, trying to create that platform. And
Yeah, we even I was gonna say even in the movies it's tough to find the people to play the parts because you see. I decided to do it voluntarily, where people would volunteer in the independent world. You get who shows up, so I decided to do it that way and give people a chance without having to audition. And I mean, we've been able to. I think word of mouth has helped us a lot because some people say they didn't even know we existed. So that just lets you know that some people in the community may not either be doing that much outreach, like we had talked about. I think with Delma Stubbs, he goes out and he finds organizations,
Right.
and I think that might be the problem right there is the fact that you can't find people to help, investors, and I don't know where they're putting their money at. So does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. And,
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, and it is difficult, especially for a person in my position, because I do the majority of things I do is stage managing. I do enjoy being on stage, don't get me wrong, sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm at the age where memorizing a lot of lines just
ain't happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. I'd rather have a really small part with 1 or 2 lines than try to memorize, something. It just ain't happening. So I stick to my comfort zone, which is backstage. And backstage takes a lot of work. A lot of people only see the finished product.
Yeah.
So they only see the actors on stage, but they don't know what it took
right, exactly.
to produce that. You have
the set designers.
Yes, the set designer. You have the lighting designer. You have to have someone on the light board who's doing those lights. You have to have someone on the soundboard who is leveling your sound so you sound good. If it's a musical, you have to have a musical director. You have to have a band or an orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have follow spot people.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find those people. Plus, a lot of people work now. A lot of people have 2 or 3 jobs. Just to get by. So, of course, they're not going to take time from their job to come and do something that's volunteer.
Yeah.
When, they have to work. So it's very difficult as far as my standpoint, for the simple fact that as stage manager, I have to get all of these people. I have to, to get a crew together. I have to find follow spot people. I have to find someone to run a light board. And there are a few of us. We have this little circle of people who do follow spot, people who will do the light board. But because there's so many theaters, if one theater is doing a show and they've got all the people, the backstage help, then there goes, your pool of people just went down.
Yeah.
Because they're all doing that show. So now you're kind of like scraping at the bottom of the barrel, trying to find, someone to help you out. So I will say that the camaraderie between community theaters is a lot better now than it was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
The theaters are kind of coming together to help each other.
Mutual cooperation instead of fierce competition.
It kind of had went away from that for a while. It was almost like, this theater didn't like this theater and so on and so on. And now they've kind of started coming back together. I think that they realize that they need each other.
Yeah,
and the thing is, it's not a competition. The theaters aren't competing because, like I said previously, each theater does different, types of theater.
Yeah.
So the Victorian by no means is competing with the Playhouse. They don't do the same caliber of shows, and it's the same thing with Rust Belt and Top Hat and everything else. So the fact that they can come together and help each other is something that I was hoping would happen, in the future, because we do all need each other.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a problem for one theater who needs I don't know, an office set.
Yeah.
To have to go out and rent some expensive office furniture when the theater across town has office furniture that they're not using.
Right.
You know, and it says here, you know, you guys can use our set pieces.
Yeah.
You know, for your show. I mean, just take care of them, whatever.
Take care of them.
You know, same thing with costumes.
Yeah.
Anything else. So that's something that I would like to see even improve even more in the future.
Well, if the people would, if they would do that, if they would join together like that and come up with some kind of a written, informal, cooperative plan, I think that may be very helpful in helping to bring about what you're talking about.
Because this town is really cultural. I mean, we have a lot of things. We have a lot of things here. I mean, we have several museums. You know, we have Ballet Western Reserve. We have a lot of dance studios and theaters and all of that. So we have a lot of culture in this town. It just needs to be
come together.
Yeah, it just needs to come together, and more people need to get involved. I strongly believe that it starts with youth.
Yeah,
definitely. I, as a mother, when after I graduated from high school, I got involved with the Youngstown Playhouse because I wanted to continue, you know, being involved in theater. I liked it in high school, so I volunteered at the Playhouse and did programs, and I worked in the coat check and all of that so that I could see a lot of the shows. And then when I got married and started having kids of my own, I took my kids to the Playhouse with me. My daughter crawled on the Playhouse floor. You know, I was pregnant. I was 9 months pregnant with her and doing a show. Yeah. You know, so I brought my kids up there, and two of them, you know, you can't make all kids. My middle son has no interest in theater at all. But anyway, you know, they got involved. They got involved with the youth program there. Youngstown Playhouse has a great youth theater program for youth, and that's what I would like to see, is if more people would just take their kids. It doesn't have to be theater either. It can be dance. It can be
movies.
Yeah, it could be movies. If you're a local film producer, you know, you have kids come to help you, you know, show what how making a movie, you know, something like that, or even art classes. I mean, there's just things, instead of them sitting on the couch playing their video games, they just need to get out. Waste of time. And I tell you, 95% of the friends that I have now, I met them in theater. You know, and the same thing with my kids. A lot of their friends they met because they did theater. And these are friends, theater family. There's no family like theater family, because we're all just a cornucopia of different, you know, different personalities, different cultures. You know, it's just a great community that we have, and we all love each other and, you know, support each other and go and see each other's shows and all of that. And that's what community theater is supposed to be about. But it really starts with the kids. So parents just need to Google or look and find different places to take their kids. Like I said, Youngstown Playhouse has a youth program. There is a new youth program called Kids First, which actually stems from the Oakland Center of the Arts, which is no longer in existence, but they are like the Phoenix starting to rise from the ashes. And so their first collaborative, I guess you could say, is this Kids First project. So, and what they are doing is they have this Mahoning County, I think it's junior or singing. It's like a American Idol kind of thing, but it's singing junior thing that they do every year. I think this is the second annual one they do, where kids can audition and they put on a singing competition. They're getting ready to do auditions for the Wizard of Oz for the summer, and they have a summer program. The kids come in, they feed them lunch, and they do a lot of projects.
So they're getting innovative.
Exactly. And then Top Hat Productions also has a youth theater program that they do in July. My grandkids are active in that program. It's like a 7-week program. They give the kids, they also feed the kids. The kids put together a show. And at the end of the 7 weeks, they put on the show for their parents, and the kids do everything. The kids are on the follow spot. There's a kid that stage manages. All the kids are involved. So they do that. I'm not sure. I don't think Victorian has a youth program, but they should. But they also cast a lot of youth in their shows, especially in the Spirit of Christmas, which is an annual Christmas thing that they do, where they have 3 one-act plays. They cast a lot of children in that show, which is good because, like I said, kids just need to be a part of it. And then they meet other kids. Other kids.
So basically, they're starting to get the message that they have to get kids involved.
They are, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough. I think that you need more. It's just a handful is what it is.
What about the mayor of Youngstown and city council? How are they actively involved in community theater?
Well, I will tell you,
a lot of these programs. I'm thinking that a lot of people promising initiatives, and they all sound wonderful, and a great vehicle to help keep our youth out of gangs and those kinds of things. So I really think they need to be promoted more, and possibly even from the level of city government, because there's going to be a way to who may have access to public access television or through whatever vehicle that they can use to help make the Youngstown residents that these programs are available.
Right, and it's great to see. I mean, it would be great to see some of these politicians at some plays. Themselves. You don't really see that anymore.
Well, that's what I was saying.
When Jay Williams was mayor,
you try to get your city council and your politicians more involved in supporting local talent and an artist. And maybe that can provide a spark.
Well, I know when Jay Williams was mayor, he came out to a lot of functions at the Playhouse. Which was nice. It was nice to see him, there. And I don't really I haven't seen the mayor anywhere as far as theater is concerned.
I'm sorry, but what amazes me is that it sounds like there's like a separation gap here between levels. A lot of people say that people have become, they call them elitists now. I'm sorry, I got a little cold, but they have said that there's such a separation gap between politicians, the public, and the average everyday citizen, the middle class people, the working people. So there's a decline, and now everything is so money system, everything's documented on cars, computers have pretty much taken over everything, that people have kind of forgotten about the simple things. And that's what it sounds like. People are all on Facebook and showing their legs, and so
they can do that in theater. They can become so many different characters on stage. They want to show their legs, and they can do it in theater. That's all. A lot of these things that they put on Facebook, and everybody will know I'm always on Facebook.
Right.
But a lot of things that they post on Facebook, and picture wise and video wise, sometimes I look at things and I laugh and I go, oh, they need to be on a stage somewhere.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
that's the first thing I say, and then especially when people upload them singing or something like that, and I go, wow, I never knew they had that voice in them. Why are they, why don't I see them coming to audition for
yeah.
shows or anything like that?
I think maybe Youngstown's Got Talent might be a good,
I mean, you find ways.
That's been done.
Things.
Yeah.
That's been done. Youngstown Superstar.
Youngstown Talent Show?
Yeah, Youngstown Superstar was done a few years ago, which was nice. It would be nice for something like that to come along again. I think.
While you're looking at the notes, I'm gonna show you a few clips from the. I'm gonna put a few clips up. We're gonna go to a few clips of me and Miss Joyce. We were in. Can't take it with you. I'm gonna show a clip of that real quick. Let me show them the clip, and then I'm gonna show them the clip of the movie you were in, The Land of Escobar Part 3. We'll show a clip of that. We'll be right back. Let me show you the clip real fast.
Okay.
Ma, he certainly is a joy.
Them rich men, they're usually elks or something.
After all this, you don't think Mr. Tony gonna marry Miss Alice, huh?
No. And it's too bad, too, because Miss Alice loves that boy.
Notice how white folks always get themselves in trouble?
Yes, that's why I'm glad I'm colored. Mother, you've taken these people and put them in a fake reality. What are you doing?
I am the ruler in this dimension.
But this is not the code that we're supposed to live by in this land. What has got into you?
The Lord of Escobar interfered. Did he not send lightning down to strike the dreamer's father? Is that a code of this land?
But he is all powerful, Mother.
He is weak. He favors these beings. To me, they are beasts that waste time. Do you see all of the labor it took you to replenish the forest? Do you see what these pitiful beings do to nature? Why does the Lord of Escobar intervene with my duty? These beings must feel my wrath, and when they do, they will fear me.
But will nature not fight back?
No! Do not speak of such madness. I am certain that I have justice on my side, and at this moment, nothing can stop me. The Lord of Escobar favors the dreamer's father, and I favor no one. He sent lightning down from the heavens. He even sent the dreamer. Is he also powerful that he will then stop time? This is justice, Elda. Now stop wasting my time and do as I say.
Yes, I understand. If your motives are of justice, then there will be war. I pray that you're victorious.
So me and you were looking pretty good in Reba, and then you played Elda in The Land of Escobar.
Yeah. In part 2 and part 3.
Yeah. Now that's that. And I have to remember, and I was not reading off of the paper. I memorized those lines, so we were sitting at the coffee table, and that cast.
I memorized my lines too. It was hard.
Yeah, that cast was that we had an amazing cast in that.
It was a lot of fun. It was like I said, it's fun because especially when you're on stage and you're on a set. In that case, it was a dining room, and a living room and everything. And it's just fun to kind of like you're pretending you're playing house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I guess it's just me because I've been doing it for so long. I just have a passion about it, and I just get excited. I get excited seeing a set. I get excited walking on a set. I get excited at rehearsals.
Yeah.
Because that finished product.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's gonna make people happy. And I can't imagine anybody not wanting to experience that because it's just so much more out here to do besides just sitting at home watching TV. I like to sit at home and watch TV sometimes, but I also like to get out. I like to meet people. I like to be around people. I enjoy I just enjoy just the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing like being in a play with a group of other people who you didn't know till then, and then you get close. You become a family. If you plan a family, you become a family.
Now, before we get you out of here, you talked about community activism. Now there's a place. Do you see any people from college theater coming and auditioning? Do you see any of that? People who are in college, because they always complain about jobs and so do you ever see any people from?
I don't really, and I don't know. I know there was a policy at Youngstown State, and I don't know if it still is, that they can't do community theater.
Oh.
You know what I mean? They have to do YSU theater. But I will tell you that those who really are serious about doing theater, they sneak and do it anyway.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They just go ahead and do it anyway. And I know a few people who have done that, and YSU has some very talented. I've been to a lot of YSU productions, and oh my goodness, they're top notch, you know. But as far as them doing community theater, I think, and I'm not sure, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think they are just not allowed to do community theater. They have to ask permission to do community theater.
Or you might want to take a step lower and go to the high school level, because I do know that Boardman High School has an excellent
Boardman
program.
High School has an excellent. I've been to
so
a
much
lot of
talent
Boardman.
there. Very
definitely.
and
I just wish that they would audition for community theater shows. You know, I mean.
Yeah, that's what they think. Maybe they need to be more aware of it, and
they are.
As the students, I want to make sure that they know that. What's available to them outside of Boardman and like during the summer and like you said, so a lot of these students that I've seen at Boardman are really passionate about their performance.
And a lot of those kids,
I like to see them go. They can go a long way.
Right, and a lot of those kids too got their start when they were young, got in a dance class or whatever, and that's what. Made them interested. I still think it begins at home. I still think that parents need to go online, and if they do just a search. I actually, before I came here, I tried it. I Googled Youngstown area youth theater programs.
Yeah.
And Smarts came up. Smarts is located down West Federal Street, and it stands for Students Motivated by the Arts.
Yeah.
Well, that's
what it says,
There it is.
Smarts. So, that's available on Federal Street. And then, like I said again, Kids First, which they're doing some wonderful things in the summer with the kids under the direction of Brenda Byers. They can get into his program. The Top Hat Youth Program with Brian Palumbo, they can get into that. Especially in the summer, kids need something to do in the summer, so I'm for any kind of summer youth program. Youngstown Playhouse has a great summer youth program. In addition to, they're probably the only theater around here now that actually has a youth theater where they actually put on shows starring young people, and they do it for the schools and all of that. So, I just encourage
people to get involved.
Parents to get their children involved.
Yeah.
And I encourage young people just to get involved and come out and do a show. Yeah. And I understand there are some kids, because I was like that too, where I'm like, oh, you're not going to get me on stage in front of people? Okay, that's what they have backstage for. Right. I take the backstage people who don't want to be on stage, because there's enough people out there who want that limelight and that recognition, and there's enough people out there who don't. Yeah. That we can find a happy medium. It's just
there's a lot of talented set designers out there.
Yeah,
carpenters
some of the best
electricians and
best lighting design. When it comes to lighting, you got Leslie Brown, you got Ellen Citra, Johnny Picano does some really great things with sound. Like I said, Jeff Chan,
all right here in the city.
all right here in the city, and working hard to bring the people some beautiful
shows,
set design, and to spur your imagination. That's what it's about.
And it's amazing. Before I'll let you get your final thought. It is most of the stuff that I learned as a child just from this community, football. I worked for the Vindicator when I was growing up, so had a lot of pastors who was involved. So all of that growing up started from youth, and that's what I can say that is great about the city is that people, if you tell them, they'll try to make it happen. I always joke around and call it the city of hope because everybody's waiting for something to happen, and then when they get the picture, they just kind of come together. So I'm hoping that this interview will kind of get people to understand theater and the fact that we can't be in our own tribes all the time. It seems like you have an elite tribe, you have a tribe of people who feel like they're better than everybody, and then and when they come together, it creates a mixture of just unsettledness and untrust. So I hope we can overcome that for the future. So what would you like to see in the future of theater for your final thought?
I would like to see, as I said, more youth involved. Get involved with any local theater group that they can. Google youth theater groups and pick one. You'd be surprised. Most of them are free.
Yeah.
Or they offer scholarships. A lot of people think it's expensive, but it's not. If you're not interested in theater, dance, like I said, enroll your kids in an art class, something, but get them off the couch.
Yeah,
get them off the couch. Let them know that there's a big, beautiful world out there that doesn't include Candy Crush and Pokemon.
And like I said, Miss Joyce, I'm a living witness. Just because I played football when I was a kid, I was able to help out a local football team. So people just don't know that by them wasting all that time on those games, when they get older, they're not going to know anything. And there's a lot of people wondering why there's a lot of homeless people, why there's a lack of creativity because of the fact that kids are not out being as active.
Yeah, you don't have the local neighborhood centers. When I was growing up, there was a Clarence Robinson Center where you could always go to. I think the only thing we have now is the Boys and Girls Club right there on Oak Hill. That's it. And from what I hear, there's not a lot of kids going to that as well. So everything's kind of like dwindling down. It would be nice to build things back up
get a revival.
The way it was in the 70s and 80s, where there was places for the kids to go, things for the kids to do, and there was just far less these kids out on the streets stealing cars and shooting people and doing whatever,
all types of crazy
or
stuff.
else, because every year they get younger. I'm talking like 10-12-year-olds stealing cars. They barely can drive and robbing people, and these are kids that could be doing something so much more productive.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying do it because you want to be a Broadway star or a movie star or anything. Just do it because it's fulfilling.
It pays off in the long run.
And it does pay off in the long run because you meet some good quality people who are your friends for life. I think of theater as a sorority or fraternity.
Yeah.
Fraternity and sorority, brothers, sisters, are close.
Yeah.
And once you're in that fraternity or sorority, you can find a sister or brother anywhere in the world, and they welcome you because that's your sister or brother. That's how it should be in theater.
Any last comments?
I think we can learn a lot from that model, because I definitely think that Youngstown needs a revival, within the theater, community theater, but also economically too. We'd like to try to bring some investment back to the Rust Belt. I'm talking about the brownfields and because you know, when people have more money in their pocket, then they're more likely to go out and support community theater.
Absolutely.
So everything works together.
Well,
Oh, definitely. So I encourage your audience.
Thanks for doing what you're doing,
Thank
and I really admire your commitment and your passion and your perseverance.
well, I want to thank you for coming on the show today, Miss Joyce, and I hope that, I know you're going to be, you said you wanted to be in the next project we do, Jackie and the Rabbit's Foot, so I hope to see you in
That's
that.
right.
I want to thank you so much for tuning in to The Mediator, and don't forget to get your kids active in theater. We are the Mediators of Democracy, where we find truth in every story. Thanks a lot. Have a good week, everybody.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is